has come to me. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. Running fast to the edge of my life. Jesus saved me in time. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. Running fast for the edge of my life. Jesus saved me in time. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. Running fast for the edge of my life. Jesus saved me in time. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. Running fast for the edge of my life. Jesus saved me in time. Jesus saved me in time. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. Running fast for the edge of my life. Jesus saved me in time. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. Running fast for the edge of my life. Jesus saved me in time. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. Happiness comes. That has come to me. Running fast for the edge of my life. Jesus saved me in time. Running fast for the edge of my life. Jesus saved me in time. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. It is here in the Father's kingdom. It was there for me. You took me. And you washed away my sins. You washed away my sins.
You ready? You're listening to the Real Pineapple Podcast Network. Um, Good afternoon, ladies, gentlemen, theys, and gays. This is the Real Pineapple. This is your humble host, Hunter, here. I hope you're well. I hope you're safe. Happy Saturday to y'all. So a quick apology. I've been knee deep in screener season, so I've been watching as much shit as I possibly can. I still got a ton more stuff, ton of other things. Pardon me, that I want to go ahead and watch. I won't. There's a lot. There's a lot I'm trying to get through. But like I said on my last stream, I am shooting for my best of and worst of to be up by the end of January. That is still the goal. That's what I'm shooting for. We'll see if I get there. But yeah, that's what we're shooting for. So yeah, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I apologize for the lack of streams over the last couple of weeks. Next week we will be getting back to streams. So Monday, actually, I will be doing a stream for. What am I going to stream Monday? I'll figure that out. But I'm gonna be doing a stream on Monday. Be doing a stream on Thursday because I do want to talk AEW Dynamite since we're in the Continental Classic right now, which is an absolute delight. Really happy they've brought that back. But I'm here to talk about a movie I watched earlier today. So, in the spirit, actually, real quick, shout out to my friend Shannon. Check her out on socials. She runs this amazing nonprofit called Black Women Lead, which you should definitely check out. So make sure you check that out. Check out check her out on socials. But yeah, so I watched a movie earlier. It is the I apologize. I apologize. I've been very scatterbrained today. This movie kind of broke my brain a little bit. So I watched Taylor Swift's The Eras tour yesterday because I made a promise to y'all on a stream earlier this year around April that I would watch it by the end of the year, that I would do a review of that for y'all. So that review will probably be next week because I do want to put some things together on that. But I will have a review up for the Eras tour next week. But in terms of this movie, I watched God's Not Dead in God We Trust, which is the latest in the God's Not Dead film saga, which is the fact that you have to call it a saga kind of fucking depresses me. How many of these are there? So the first one came out in like 2016, I believe. 2014, goddamn, 2014, really. So that's when the first one came out. And then let's see. Oh my god, there's so many of these. Why are there so many? So you had the first one in 2016. Then you get God's Not Dead 2. Oh, sorry, you get God's Not Dead in 2014. Then you get God's Not Dead 2 in 2016. Then you get God's Not Dead A Light in the Darkness in 2018. Then you get God's Not Dead We the People in 2021. And then you get this latest one, God's Not Dead and God We Trust. So God's Not Dead, We the People is the first one I watched. That was number 2 on my worst of in 2021. That is the same movie that said, hey, slavery actually wasn't that bad. And actually most of the slave owners treated their slaves pretty well. Yeah, the movie says that. Fuck you. So heading into this movie, I was like, all right, I don't know what I'm gonna get. I mean, I know I'm gonna get something probably very propaganda heavy, but what as far as what I'm actually gonna get, who knows, right? So going into this, I didn't watch the trailer. I knew nothing about what this one was about. I mean, it's not hard to put two and two together based on the stupid fucking poster. So yeah, so this one, once again, what's this fucker's name? David A.R. White. God damn, it's a white name. But David A.R. White, you know him. This is basically all he does. He just does these sort of movies. So he's a co-founder of Pinnacle Peak Pictures, which is a company that puts these crappy movies out. Um, he so looks like he started with The Encounter back in 2011. Uh, Revelation Road. I'm sure that's some Left Behind bullshit. And then we get the God's Not Dead 2014. So he's been in all of these. Like, this is his baby. This is his franchise. This is his NCIS, if you will. So just see him in the last one, even as a pastor, I don't think the dude is convincing. I mean, he just doesn't feel like a pastor. He feels like very much like a very bad pastor, to be quite frank, which also extends to this movie, and we'll get to that. But this movie is about his character, Reverend. Oh my God, that's right. His name is Reverend David in these. God damn, how lazy! Your real name's David. You can't call yourself Derek or. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, this kind of broke my brain a little bit. So I finished this around, God, I don't know, like around noon. No, around 12:30. Yeah. I finished it around 12:30 because um, that's when my partner left for work. So, and it's 2:36 now, and I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I've been on one since about 12:30. I was laying on my couch. I was watching SpongeBob. I was so mad. I was trying to calm down. I went for a walk. I got some air. So I went for like a half-hour walk, came back and showered, and I was just like, okay, I'm a little more calm now. But just as I think about this movie, and I think about something like that film Trust that I keep bringing up, or a Midas, which is another really great indie film, um, or To Kill a Wolf. Like all these indie films that aren't getting even close, unfortunately, to the audience of something like this bullshit. Because whenever these God's Not Dead films come out, they always get a Fathom event. Like whenever I go to Cinemark, I always see a trailer for one of these. I mean, granted, it never gets a wide release, because why the fuck would you give this a wide release? But they always get a Phantom of it. So these are clearly making some money, despite my pleas. But these are, I guess, at least making something. So, oh, by the way, let me just throw this out there too, because I know some people are going to come at me and be like, well, what about this? So if you Google God's Not Dead and God We Trust, you see it's got a 98% Rotten Tomato score. I understand that some Christians would be like, haha, see, it's a great movie then. That's a 98% popcorn meter, by the way. That's an audience score. There's only 500 actual verified ratings for this shit. So before you come at me with that, because I know some of you would, shut the fuck up. That means absolutely fucking nothing. The first, let's just go through some of these because I'm curious. Let's go through some of these comments. So the first one is from a Peter D. I'm sure the D stands for dipshit. But this first one here is, if you enjoyed the previous entries, you will probably enjoy this one too. Scott Baio for president 2028. Fucking moron. Let's see. Josiah H. This movie was both very good and very timely for Christians in the United States right now. God's Not Dead. All right. Let me see. Wow, it's a good watch. You can tell by the absolute leftist outrage happening here in the comments. I can guarantee almost none of them watched it. They probably saw the word God and came straight here to whine, which is what I always hear about leftist films. It's like, Marvel's gone woke and all that shit. Like, give me a break. Let's see. It's just, this is exhausting, y'all. It's exhausting. That's the only way I can put it, because this is just fear mongering the movie. That's what all these movies are. That's what all of these are. They're just fear mongering. Okay, no one's gonna run in your house. No police people are gonna run in your house and steal your Bibles and start breaking your focus on the family collection plates. Like, none of that's gonna happen. I promise you, because the Bible is the best-selling book of all time. You think they're gonna stop making the Bible or discontinue it? No, they're not. So stop with that rhetoric. Let's start there. So that's number one. Number two, David A.R. White, he's just not a good actor. He just always looks like droopy dog. He just always looks sad. Like nothing brings this man joy. I mean, it's so weird too because while these films are not sexual at all, like do not like this man is basically asexual in these movies. But there's oh god, I don't even know the girl's name. It doesn't matter. But there's the girl in this movie, the one who's like running his campaign, like she's very gorgeous, she's very pretty, and I was just like, oh, like I mean, I'm sure probably not smart politically, but I'm like, she's very pretty. Like, is there going to be something there? Is maybe the fact that they're working together on this campaign, like through the power of Jesus, are they going to go ahead and get together? And no, absolutely not, because Christians are apparently not sexual beings whatsoever. The other thing about this is the way this campaign happens is fucking absurd. So this guy is running for I'm not going to use character names in here because this film I'm not using more of my brain power that I fucking need to review this. But the guy in this movie, the pastor, he is working at his church, the same church he's been working at, and he goes ahead and he gets summoned by Isaiah Washington's character, who was in the last, who's been in all of these, I think. He was at least in the last one. But he's summoned by him, Senator Smith, there you go. He's summoned by him to go ahead and run for Congress. That's the plot. So David is going up against State Senator Peter Kane, who is this very formidable opponent. He's got all this political history that they never get into. Like, here's the thing, and I'm not even saying this just as a snarky liberal, but I'm just saying this in terms of just basic script structure. Could you write a threat? They never, like, this guy, I don't think they even say how long he's been a senator. They don't talk about his political career. They just say that he's been there for a while. But could you actually take the fucking time with your script and make this guy a threat? Could you say that he's, got, however many terms you want to go ahead and put on it? Could you talk about the fact that maybe this guy was like a mayor or something? Or like could you do a little fucking work? Like, it shouldn't be this hard. Like, God, pun intended, goddamn, like, seriously, put a little bit of time in. Anyways, so while that's happening, because that's the whole main plot, you have the subplot where David, because of his church, they were helping run this like women's shelter, like safe house type place. And then you find out that that they had a Bible study there. And so now they're no longer allowed to go ahead and get like government funding. Which, okay, hold the Bible study not there. Like, I've been to thousands probably Bible studies at people's houses. That is one thing I will say. Pardon me. That's one thing I will say about the church is, more often than not, if you want to host a Bible study somewhere, there's always someone in a group within earshot who will go like, oh yeah, you can host it here. Like, I've never had an issue finding somewhere to host a Bible study. So fuck off with that. That's number one. And then two, the woman that he ends up talking to brings up a very good point, because she is she lost because this place is going to go ahead and close down. So I'm trying to pull up my notes because I realize I don't have my notes up because I tried to email them to myself and my Google's not working. So bear with me. But but she goes ahead and she goes like, okay, why, like, this isn't God's fault. Like, this is clearly the fault of someone, why isn't this happening? Why aren't we getting funding? And it's one of those things where I was just like, well, yeah, that's a great question. Why the fuck did you have a Bible study here if you knew that your funding would get cut off? And the pastors never asked about it. And look, this church is also in Arkansas, which it's weird. The movie almost feels like a shame that it's in Arkansas, because I feel like they don't mention it till like halfway through, because I could not fucking remember where this took place. And I kept looking for signs, and they literally have to go, oh, we're in Arkansas. I was like, all right, you could have just said at the beginning of the movie. Speaking of the beginning of the movie, let me bring up one thing that I think a lot of people are going to miss. So this company was called PureFlix, just PureFlix. Now, and you cannot tell me this isn't because of Trump, because it feels so Trumpy for doing this. Now it's called the Great American PureFlix. Why? Like, PureFlix wasn't enough to go ahead and let people know that this is right wing. You have to add the Great American part. So our other is Paramount not Great American, even though they have Great America. Are you like, is that what you're saying? You're saying you're more American than other studio? Like, dumb. Here's your tagline: the streaming leader in faith and family entertainment. That really? That's all right. That's like, oh my God. Anyway, so let me go ahead and move forward here. So, because I actually want to talk about the start of the movie, because I realized I was actually a little bit past the start of the movie. So, okay, so Senator Kane, he is running unopposed because his right wing opponent Rick West randomly dies at the start of the film. By the way, that's another thing. They never say Republican, they never say liberal in this movie. It for a movie that is clearly trying to dunk on the liberals, the fact that they're like, no, we won't say it. Like, all right, fucking dumb, but whatever. So Senator Kane is immediately questioned. They're like, what about your laws to restrict religious freedoms and have bigger government? Here's the thing: when they say restrict religious freedoms, it's like, don't have prayer in schools. Why is that a big deal? There's supposed to be separation of church and state. I had friends of mine who'd pray before a basketball game all the time, and they weren't hit with tomatoes or anything like that. It's like, it's fun. Fucking Tim Tebow was dropping to a knee and fucking praying to God and being praised for it. Not like Colin Kaepernick, who people had a slightly different reaction to. But yeah, again, the fear mongering. Give me a fucking break. So, the other things too, they make anyone who's liberal in this, like, they might as well be Snidely Whiplash. Like, they are mustache twirling, like, yes, see? The guy, Senator Kane, the first thing he says to like his minion is, oh, I wish I could have debated West. That way I could have landed the death blow myself. Get it? Because he just died. Waka waka. It's, oh my God, like, so then this is what he says. He says the passing of Rick West may allow us to catch up with the rest of the modern world. I have always said that religious superstition has no place influencing our laws and government. So here's to enlightenment, reason, and reshaping our nation's core. Here's the thing, y'all. Separation of church and state has always been a thing. That's number one. Number two, the movie really is painting this like they are just going like, oh man, we're gonna take In God We Trust off the money, and they're gonna go ahead and they're gonna break into your house. It's like wooga booga, and they're gonna go ahead and they're gonna steal your Bibles, and then next they're gonna cancel Adventures in Odyssey, and then next they're gonna go ahead and burn all the Christian music. Like it's like, it's so the exact 180 of what's happening right now with books and stuff being burned and LGBTQ kids being told that they're not LGBTQ. Like, it's all the fear mongering, but in reverse. And it's so goddamn dumb because none of this is happening. I've never shared this story, but I'll share it on stream. I remember when I was in middle school, I was told, as a black man, you see, I'm black. I was told that my life, for the rest of my life, this is what a pastor said to me, for the rest of my life, I would always be more discriminated against for being a Christian than for being black. I've been called the N-word so many times by people, way more than I'd like to actually think about. I have never had someone throw a rock at me or try to assault me or try to shoot me because I'm a Christian. Usually when I tell people I'm a Christian, they're shocked. They're like, wait, but like, you like gay people, you don't want them to burn. How are you a Christian? And then that leads to a very interesting conversation. But yeah, the fear mongering in this really start off the movie straight from jump is absolutely nuts. So then the movie, the actual credits, it's just a giant like like it might as well be Team America opening without the irony. It opens up with the Statue of Liberty, and then you see Kennedy and the moon landing and the Lincoln Memorial and Martin Luther King Jr., which the fucking gall to. So they have that, and then they cut to part of the last film where Pastor David went ahead and gave this big speech on Capitol Hill, very Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, except I don't think Mr. Smith was, a racist douche, but he goes ahead and gives a speech. And the irony, I'm reading this word for word, y'all. Here, actually, hang on, let me take a little sip of water. Okay, this is what David says, word for word. What up, Afternoon Tune? That's part of your plan, isn't it? Keep us all divided, so bit by bit, we don't realize you're chipping away at our freedoms and liberties, because it's all about power for you. And the only way for you to get more power. And as he's saying this is where they show people wearing COVID masks and church and like signs on churches being like, oh, church services are canceled through March. I'm sorry. If two or more are gathered, God is in your presence, right? Why do you need church? Technically, you never even go to church, by the way. Like people never bring that up. I oh my god, I hate that. By the way, that's Matthew 18:20 for those of you who want to say that I just made that shit up. But it's fucking ridiculous. So they're already putting the victim complex from the fact that we were trying to keep people safe from COVID, a disease that killed hundreds of thousands, by the way. As someone who got COVID and is still hacking up shit from it, yeah, fuck you. Like the fact that there's already the victim complex baked in to the credits for this is fucking absolutely ridiculous. And then so he continues. So, and the only way you can get more power is by taking it from someone else. And that would be all well and good if it wasn't for this pesky thing called the Constitution that gets in the way. That's the opening. That's the credits of this. By the way, it's very funny that they go ahead and they show like all these things happening around Washington. Really, weirdly, no footage on of Washington on January 6th. So odd to me. Anyways, the movie, one of the things it says right out the gate too, it goes, if the house flips, hello socialism. Like fear, oh my god, the fear mongering. And they keep going. Remember, this is a fight for the soul of the nation. It's fucking ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. So after I mentioned the whole women's shelter shutting down, which by the way, I know I mentioned the fact that they said that they are no longer going to get grant money, government money, because they were doing a Bible study. First off, I doubt it was one fucking Bible study. I'm sure they were actually just doing Bible studies there, which you're not supposed to do, and so you lost your funding. I doubt that someone who was like walking around the corner heard them reciting scripture and went, "Oh, I need to snitch." But they go ahead and they have Pastor Dave, and he's talking to David, whatever, and he's talking to like his minion. I can never remember the dude's name, but he's like the mini pastor there. Yeah, I actually they don't have his name on IMDb or whatever. Fine. So, but he's talking to him, and he's yeah. So basically, this guy, he goes, "Oh, well, David's talking about how he's terrified about how religious liberties are being taken away and yada yada yada." Martin, that's his name. He's played by Paul Quo, is what I'm going to go with. And so Martin goes ahead and says, "Oh yeah, actually, this is like an American version of China's Cultural Revolution. It's coming for Christians." And I just went, "Really? That you are saying that something the equivalent of China's Cultural Revolution is coming for?" So basically, you're saying that Christians are going to be killed and put in cage, like. Really? That's what. And the movie says it without any sense of irony, doesn't walk it back at all. it actually doubles down on it, if anything. And I just went, really? It who wrote this? Tommy Blaze wrote this. I have no idea what else Tommy Blaze has written. They wrote Love on the Rock. They're an episode of Friends. Oh, that explains it. Yeah, it looks like a bunch of dumb shit that they wrote. This is your magnum opus, sir. Cause for you to write that and to fucking have the gall to actually let that not be cut in post, which my god, haha, it should have been. So that's just where the offensive shit starts. That's number one. Number two, the woman Lottie who's in this, and when I said it's actually like the actress is actually really cute. Again, probably very dumb politically. But so she Samara Armstrong, I think is how you say her name. So she's in this shit, right? And so you find out that she had this this really gross, like, so basically the movie heavily implies that she got essayed. Like, they don't come out and say it. They dance around it like Gregory Hines, but they heavily imply that she was SA'd by this guy she used to work with, John Wesley, who's played by Scott Baio, which goddamn, like, seeing Scott Baio in this, the star of Super Babies, Baby Geniuses 2. I was like, I'm so happy you're being reduced to these fucking movies now. So first off, Scott Baio is looking more and more like a catcher's mitt the more I see him. That's number one. Like, and a gross catcher's mitt. Like, you remember in The Sandlot, like when they bit when the beast like had like slobbered all over the ball? That's basically Scott Baio if he was a catcher's mitt. He looks terrible. But credit to him on one thing, he comes across like a snarmy piece of shit. I mean, it feels like he's just playing himself, but he comes across like an absolute snarmy piece of shit. And there's this whole subplot about Lottie like moving on past her being potentially SA'd, which by the way led to a kid, which, okay, again, basic script writing 101. If someone was actually intelligent in writing the script, they could have actually had the subplot be something in terms of like, hey, Lottie being like, look, I found out I was pregnant after he SA'd me, but I prayed on it, and after really having a conversation with God, I realized that I could be a mother and bring something good in this world. That could have been just the simplest monologue. Just throw that shit out there that gives her character another like dimension and kind of makes you like her. But no, they couldn't even do that. Her kid is barely in this movie because she's basically recruited to go ahead and help run David's campaign. She's recruited by what's his name, Congressman Daryl Smith. That's Isaiah Washington. The guy who got fired from what was it, Grey's Anatomy for being super homophobic. That dude. Oh yeah, he's also the one in the last movie who said that slavery wasn't bad. Great job having your person of color say that shit. And let's be clear, that's the only reason he's in here. He is in here like the black friend you invite to a party in high school. He's here to check off a box and nothing fucking more. And as a black man, I'll just say, Isaiah Washington, you're a fucking coon. And you should be fucking ashamed of yourself. No shame in my game. But as a person, for what you said and the lack of accountability that you took for what you said, go fuck yourself again. But he's really in here just to basically do what James Brown did in the Elvis movie. He's here to help prop the white dude up and just give him those pep talks that he needs. He's only maybe in 5 minutes of this movie, which that's a positive, I guess. But he's not in this movie a lot, even though he's an executive producer, which is a bit odd, but whatever, I guess. So here's where the movie just gets into just who the fuck cares. So they're running the campaign. There's a point where David gets tricked into doing this podcast where he's talking about his campaign. He ends up going on Mike Huckabee's show, which, ew, why would you have Mike Huckabee anywhere? Like, God, he's such a goon. So you have Mike Huckabee on here, who, by the way, I had no idea Mike Huckabee was a pastor, or used to be a pastor, which makes so much fucking sense as far as why his political views are so fucking backwards. But he but he has but he's in this movie and he's hosting him, right? So there's that. But then the Newsboys are in here, Christian rock band, and I'd say rock band, like they're kind of like the Coldplay of of Christian music. But yeah, like he's in here. They have Newsboys in here, which is just whatever. but uh, but the movie itself, they have this whole talk about his religion and about how that's going to go ahead and potentially form his opinions, which are fair questions to fucking ask someone who you're going to be potentially voting for. So this guy goes, so David goes, "Oh, Cain hides behind the separation of church and state." And it's like, oh, you mean that he hides behind the law that exists because there's supposed to be there's supposed to be a separation of church and state. One of the things that's actually insulting to me, several things, they actually have the nerve to go, I think it's Lonnie who says it, Lottie, whatever, who cares? Lottie actually says, when she goes to recruit him, there's nothing that you can do as a pastor that can't be undone by a politician. And my first thought was, why would anyone become a pastor then? What sort of pep talk is that? That is a horrendous pep talk, and actually quite problematic. Because what you're saying is, if a pastor saves one soul, and again, this is Christian logic, so I'm using y'all's logic, right? You Republicans that claim to love the Bible, right? I'm using your logic here. So what you're saying is, even if this pastor, even if he just started off, if David had just started off, he went ahead and saved one soul, got one person to say, "I accept Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior." What you are saying is that his work means nothing. That's what you're saying. So even if, like, through your insane logic, even if they were somehow able, the government outlawed Christianity, which again, fucking stupid, will never happen. But let's say that that's the route you want to take. You want to follow this road to its actual conclusion. That is so terrible to say that someone's life work just means nothing because of politics. That's insane. And the movie stands by it. And that's the rallying cry that David needs to go, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and leave my church and go ahead and run. Run for Congress. Which, by the way, fucking disrespectful as hell, because Martin, the guy who's supposed to be, who, by the way, is like basically running the church at the end of this fucking movie, spoiler, but he's not communicating with him at all throughout the film. He's not talking about the campaign. He's not asking about the church. You ain't ever seen like text him like, "Hey, how are things going at the church?" This fucking women's shelter, it's about to close down. He could not give a fuck. And it's like, I'm sorry, what sort of fucking pastor are you? Really? A text takes what, 15 seconds to send if you have bigger fingers like yours truly? Maybe 20 seconds. He couldn't spare 20 goddamn seconds to go ahead and reach out and see how the body of his church is doing, the body that he cares so much about, the reason why he's supposedly running. Really, movie, that's where we're at. He continues on this whole speech with Huckabee, where he talks about people are afraid to speak the truth these days because the truth either loses or gets them canceled. Really, that's where we're at. So let's test this theory, because let me throw some truth out there. This movie is a fucking propaganda machine that is as empty and hollow as hell. All right, am I getting canceled? Am I getting canceled for speaking the truth? Because that's the truth that does matter. This movie, like what David's running on, they never ask him. Like they never, like all he keeps going is like, God needs to be more involved in government. God means, God stands up for the people. Like people need religion. How are you going to vote on abortion? How are you going to vote on universal health care? What are your thoughts on Black Lives Matter? He's never asked about a fucking topic. Ever. And I'm sitting here going, cool. So why the fuck should I vote for you? They, of course, have the fucking montage of him shaking hands with a couple black people. I'm sure he immediately sanitized his hands. But it's like, dude, talk about the issues. Don't just talk about God. There are multiple points where Lottie is saying, like, you need to calm down and cut cut some of the God talk out. And ironically enough, the movie's 1,000% right. He needs to stop talking about God and actually talk about some of the fucking issues and where he stands on them, and not just that he wants more God in government. But that's all he talks about. And it's like, all right, so why would I vote for you where I don't know where you fucking stand on anything? It's fucking insane. And then and it's very funny too to have Congressman Smith go, because David asked him, rightfully so, I'm a pastor. Why should I be allowed to run? What do I bring to politics? And without a sense of irony, Congressman Smith says, "Oh, well, you're a pastor, so you're in the business of truth. So does that apply for just Christian pastors, or does that apply to people who are teaching the Quran? Does that apply to people who are teaching Scientology? Clarification? Are we going to give any? No. So just all pastors apparently are always speaking truth. Cool, awesome. Here, there is okay. So Lottie meets him at what's it called? He meets him at at this fundraiser, this little barbecue thing that they're doing to try to raise money for the women's shelter, which is hilariously unsuccessful. But Lottie's talking to him, and she's like, yeah, like we need you to run, like you need to run. And so of course, after the whole pep talk and shit, he decides to run. So he goes and meets her at the airport, right? He doesn't have a bag with him. Like, he just like, it doesn't make sense. And the thing is, the movie, it's not until much later on that I think I kind of realized, like, okay, I think he's just staying in town, apparently. But if that's the case, then he has like a campaign headquarters that doesn't look like it's in Arkansas. It looks like it's in DC. So like the movie doesn't even really know where the fuck it's taking place, which is so jarring as a viewer. Because he's on Huckabee. Like, I don't think Huckabee is in that small ass town. So it's so confusing. And I just was like sitting here going, why am I even surprised by any of this shit? There's a point where they go, these days, separation of church and state has been reduced to a catchphrase. It's like, no, there just needs to be separation of church and state. I wouldn't want to lead a fucking morning prayer every day if I was a teacher. That's fucking weird. No, like, if you want to pray before the school day starts, awesome, do it at your desk, but I'm not going to lead the whole class in that shit. But yeah, so there's this point where the guy he's running against, Larry, I think it is. I think it's Larry. It does, like, again, it doesn't, the congressman dude, Congressman Kane. There you go. That guy. When he runs his his first ad against David, there's some January 6th footage to start off the ad. And I'm sitting here going, wait, you think that's bad? You think him using January 6th footage is bad? That's a bad thing. Really? In the movie, again, no sense of irony. And I'm just sitting here going, oh my God, you think this is like, you think that's correct. You think those people are right. The movie doesn't come out and say it, but it does say it, like, with its actions. And I'm just like, how did anyone think this was a good idea? Dean Cain is in this, who gives money to David Hill's campaign. He basically funds the campaign. Oh my God, Dean Cain is looking like a fucking racist Minecraft character with that big ass blockhead of his. He's like, oh my God, Man of Steel, more like Man of Stromboli. He looks fucking terrible. Like, he looks bad, y'all. And I think he knows he's looking bad, because you can, like, even when he's talking about those evil liberals, like, you can just tell, like, he's so mad that he's not Superman anymore. And you can, like, I guarantee you, like, clock this right now. Clock his Superman has gone woke tweet after James Gunn's Superman comes out next year. Just clock it right now, because it's coming. He will that tweet is coming. I will just tell you right now. But he just, oh my God, he looks so bad in this movie. There's a point where they're talking to Dave, or Lottie's talking to David about how she has this big smoking gun against Senator Kane, and how like this will blow the case open. It's money laundering. It's a money laundering case, right? And I'm sitting there, and it's so fucking funny because they present it to David like this is a smoking gun. You drop this on him, and he loses, and you win, guaranteed. And David has the balls to go, no, I'm not going to use dirt against my opponent. Bullying people during a political campaign is wrong, and using evil against your opponent never wins. What? Really? I'm sorry, doesn't Marjorie Taylor Greene exist? Really? Doesn't what's her name? Beetlejuice bitch. Lauren Bohem or whatever. BoJack Horseman. She kind of looks like BoJack. That chick. She exists. Like, really? Bullying doesn't work in politics. Lying doesn't work in politics. Evil doesn't work in politics. Apparently, it fucking does. Oh my god. This movie, y'all. I the thing that okay, this is what I'll say about the Eras tour, even though I'm going to do a full review about it. While I do not like Taylor Swift, and quite frankly, I probably like her music less after watching the Eras tour, because that's 3 hours. Goddamn. What I will at least say about that movie is I can at least justify its existence for Taylor Swift fans. Like if I was a Swiftie, gag, but if I was a Swiftie, you'd have your friends over, have some wine, smoke a bowl, turn on the sound bar loud, watch it on the big screen TV, and just have a blast singing that shit. I have no idea who this is for. I don't. Like, even people who are Trumpers, like, you're not going to feel vindicated because they never talk about Republicans or liberals. I mean, they do the colors, but it's never talked about. There's no real dunking on the liberals at all because David is a fucking underdog this whole fucking movie, which is the only reason why they try to get you to side with him. It's so dumb. Like, there's a point where David, like, they have their big final debate, right? And it's one of those things where I just went, like, they dropped the whole all men are created equal, right? They quote the Constitution there. So here's the thing with the whole all men are created equal, because the whole thing he brings up is how it says endowed by their savior, by their creator, right? He brings up that part because he's like, yeah, finish it. Don't just say all men are created equal, finish it. Like, he challenges them like it's supposed to be some big dunk moment. But here's the thing, y'all, like, he didn't mean individual equality. He was talking about fucking statehood. You morons, read a fucking textbook. Like, why no one? That's why, like, when people bring up certain Bible verses and don't read to the end of the verse, or like the next verse where it's actually like it's like the closer of it, always pisses me off, because that's why the Bible is so frustrating. You can pick and choose so much shit, but that part is never brought up by David. The fact he's talking about statehood, he's like, no, this is why we need more God in this is why we need more of God in politics. And the crowd's like, yeah, woo, USA, USA. And I'm sitting here going, he didn't say anything. He said nothing at all. He hasn't talked about his policies. He's barely talked about himself. He barely talks about what makes him qualified to be in this position, even running. Oh my God, I'm done. I don't want to talk about this anymore. But I'm going to end with a plea. I'm going to end, and I never do this, but I'm going to end with a plea. David A.R. Wright. Hi, by the way. Your movie's dumb. But you know what? I always welcome discourse from the real pineapple. So, I'm begging you. I'm begging you, like Jonah, who was stuck in the belly of the whale. I am praying. I am begging you. Look. I'm begging you. Come on the real pineapple. Giggity. But seriously, come on the show. Come on the show. Talk to me. Talk to me about this movie. Talk to me about this franchise. Tell me why your company can sit there without any sense of irony and say that these movies are supposed to bring people together when all you are doing is pushing propaganda and fear mongering. Come on the show. Come on the show. I would love to talk to you. We can keep the interview short. We can keep it 10 minutes. All right. So that's 9 minutes. That's less. That's about the same amount of time that you guys took on writing this script. Like 10 minutes. Give me 10 minutes of your time. I am begging you. That's 3 worship songs. That's basically 3 Newsboys songs. Like if you played Shine 3 times in a row, it would basically be 10 minutes. I'm begging you. I am begging you. Please come on The Real Pineapple. Bring Isaiah Washington on too. I'd love to talk to him. I would love to hear how he can sit there and say that slavery wasn't bad for people of color. Please, please come on the show. I would love to have you on. I'd love to talk to you. Please come on the show. But if in case you couldn't tell, this is a go fuck yourself. I hate this. I hate this movie so much. Like the more I was watching it, the more upset I was getting. I haven't eaten yet today. I went to go make myself something and I was like, food sounds gross right now. I actually haven't even smoked. I took a couple edibles about an hour ago because I was so mad. I was pacing and I was getting a headache. Also, probably because I haven't eaten now that I say it out loud. But yeah, come on the show. Please, please come on the show. Come on the show. I would love to have you. I'd love to talk about this movie. So please, like, I'm challenging you, man. Like, you went on and had that bullshit debate. If you come on here, trust me, you better come ready to talk because I have questions for you if you come on here. So I know you won't. I know you're probably a coward and you have no guts or gumption and actually don't know how to defend your point and you just want the fear mongering, the propaganda, and everyone tell you that you did a good job. But if you actually, I'm challenging your conviction. I'm truly challenging you. If you actually are as brave and that you feel like God is on your side, like you says the way that you say that he is, come on the show. Come on. I'm one person. Come on the show. You know, the movie is talking about how, God's puts mountains in your way. Consider me a mountain. Just come on the show. I'd love to have you. I'd love to have you out, David. So, ball's in your court. I'm going to tag you in this review, so feel free to come on the show. Would love to have you. But this is a go fuck yourself to the highest degree. I thought I hated Unfrosted. I do hate Unfrosted. I might hate this more. That cultural revolution bullshit oh man. So yeah, this is a go fuck yourself. I hate everything about this. I hate everyone in this movie. If I ever meet Dean Cain, oh man, I'd love to meet Dean Cain. Just tell him how bad he sucks. But yeah, this movie sucks. This is a bad movie. Nothing about it. Like, even if you're one of those PureFlix people, I'm sure there's better PureFlix films that you can watch. I couldn't tell you one. Watch Passion of the Christ. Shit, watch that. Yeah, well, listen to Adventures in Honesty. Like, it's so weird that there are people who like these. I don't get it. But I'm tired and I haven't eaten. So I'm gonna go eat and I'm gonna chill and not think about this movie now because I don't have to talk about it until my worst stuff, which it will be on, by the way. But yeah, y'all. I'll be back on next week for streaming. I will be back on probably Tuesday because Monday I'm gonna start watching Christmas stuff. But the 12 days of Real Pineapple holiday reviews kicks off Friday. So I'll have 12 days of holiday reviews coming up for y'all. So I'm really excited to start getting those out to y'all. And I'm going to have reviews coming up for Nosferatu, Sonic 3. I'm going to be streaming OG Sonic the Hedgehog later this month to go ahead and celebrate and get ready for the new Sonic. So lots of stuff coming down the pipeline. Please make sure that you subscribe to the show on YouTube at The Real Pineapple. That's REEL Pineapple. You can follow the show on podcasts, pretty much wherever you listen to podcasts: SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music, TuneUp, and more at The Real Pineapple. You can follow your boy on Blue Sky. I'm actually very active on Blue Sky now. Follow me at realpineapple.bsky.social. You can follow me on TikTok and IG at J Hunter Real Pineapple. That's J Hunter and then REEL and then Pineapple. Thank you so much for listening, y'all. I will catch y'all next week. Stay safe. Take care of each other. Give someone a hug. Give someone a compliment. We got always some more positivity out there. Do not watch this movie, and never forget, as always, to keep it real. Thank you so much, David. I'll talk to you soon.